Welcome. Here we are, another evening of tarot. Fascinating, mysterious tarot. And I have a little tarot story to do. I might do it a few times, slightly different readings of it. So yeah, the tarot story is a nice little thing I've started putting together, a little audio visual. And the tarot story is sort of a guided meditation idea. But tonight's is a little story, and but it serves the same function really as a meditation, a short story. So there you go. And it's a short story based on tarot. I am working with the cards right now. I've managed to set my little tarot table up in a slightly different way that's going to be easier for me to work with. Less tiring. So I don't have to reach like way across the table to get to the tarot cards. I can do them like a normal person right in front of me. You go to a tarot reader and they are probably reading the cards and they're laid out right in front of them. Well, that's a pretty reasonable thing to do. And I've just managed to figure it out for the streaming. So that's my new thing. So what I can do is I can switch over and my hands are like right in front of me. I can just sit here and do it instead of going way out there. So I can conserve my energy for the readings themselves instead of like making my arms do all kinds of weird things. Now let's pull a card just for the... We'll pull a card for the evening's intro. The idea to sort of warm up the tarot juices, get them flowing. Okay. 6 sticks. All right, I'm just going to start kind of talking about basic ideas of the 6, which happen to be sort of a joyful, happy communication, sharing. The idea that we're sharing, when you come into something like this, you come into an evening stream for tarot, it's kind of a sharing of experience and knowledge, and it's a back and forth and communication, and that's what the 6 of Sticks is talking about. And it happens to be the suit of interest and creative passions and drives to do and accomplish and build and create. So it's perfect, really, for an evening's tarot reading. And the 6, these 6s, these number cards, they're kind of for the immediate. They're like they're the wave that's splashing on the shore at the moment, basically, is what they are. And so that's nice. That's a nice way to start live readings, because the 6 is sort of this. It's almost like there's a community surrounding the person, and the idea is to share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the ideas, and there's a happiness to it. There's a joyful quality of we're all sort of taking part. That's what sixes across the board in the tarot are talking about. It's kind of a harmonious number. So we're talking about the harmony of sharing creative thoughts and ideas and sort of joining together and benefiting from it. And that is really what the tarot should be all about. You know, it's even when you're reading for yourself, you're sort of taking part in a tradition, and you're riffing on and building on ideas that come from others before you, other people that you've read, you know, or you've watched other readers. You know, it's interesting. You can watch another reader, even a very inexperienced reader, and you can get ideas from them because everybody comes up with something unique when they're doing tarot. It doesn't matter how much experience they have; they can still have a very vivid sort of impression of something, and they can have a take on a card that you've never thought of before, and you go, oh wow. Or it maybe not the whole entire take on the card, but some piece of it that kind of enhances that card's meaning in your own mind for your own readings. So you could have tons of experience doing readings, and then someone comes along who has no experience, and they just start learning, and they pop out with some incredibly brilliant idea about a card that you just hadn't thought of yourself. Some angle. And that's what sixes of sticks are encouraging, is that kind of sharing and back and forth and building on other people's ideas and giving other people ideas. And, you know, that's for the benefit of the whole. That's what the Six of Sticks is talking about. Look, I can even put my coffee under the... Look at that. I can take my coffee cup and put it in the scene. Look how easy. I can spill it too. Yeah, this is great. So this is the perfect way. See, I can zoom all the way in and say, here's my coffee. There's cinnamon in there too. There's cinnamon on the side of the cup. But there's my... So, tarot coffee. You can't beat it, man. So yeah, I like the six popping out. And what I do when I make these cards is I try to do things with the symbols. That I try to like position the symbols in different ways. For the six, I have the objects sort of looking like they're kind of bopping around together, like the two in the middle are sharing. These two are. It's almost like a little, I don't know. In my mind, it's like a little dance of the objects, and then other cards will have totally, like, some are more like rigid patterns. Like if there's a 4, the things will just be 1, 2, 3, 4, like in a square, like that. So little suggestions like that. And like for the 10, I have the things like all scattered and not aligned, just all sort of all over the place, because they're kind of celebrating and rejoicing. It's almost as if they're all drunk on success. Because the 10 is sort of, we've finished something and now it's time to, let our guard down and celebrate that and get ready for the next big deal that's coming, tomorrow. So, yeah. But anyway. I tend to put color. I have ideas about colors in the cards. So like the sixes all incorporate some kind of pale green in them somewhere, because I feel like the green is sort of, green with yellows, kind of alive and happy. That's why I do that. So like if I were to draw some other card, let's see what comes out. Well, see here. Okay, so so the eights, 8 of cups, I kind of like, I always like the cup suit because when I made the deck, I kind of enjoyed drawing the cup for some reason. And what I do here with the eights is well, first of all, for the cups, I tend to use blues and purples to suggest the watery sort of emotional element. And then in the eight, I sort of want to indicate this circular thing to sort of indicate working toward a wholeness, working toward great success, but also the idea of a cycle, which means the possibility of also change. So eights are all about change, achievement, putting what you have and know to work, applying your skills, diligence in order to achieve success and create that change. And so that's why I give it an oval, circular, sort of like a rotational idea in it. That was my thinking process there. And then I keep the sort of, there's the watery blue element on the outside surrounding the cups. And then moving between the cups, like connecting them all, is the more emotional purpley element with a little green in there. Might be hard to see, but there's a little green in there. There's a little red, there's a little yellow, but the idea is the emotional sort of connection, the heart of the cups being emotion. That's why that's like that. This is just all the sort of ideas that go through as I was working on mainly the number cards. And the number cards are very, very difficult in this kind of deck, because you're not drawing a specific thing. Like the Rider-Waite deck, I believe, has like a boat with a little family in it going across some water or something to indicate change, going to a new place, and new possibilities and starting over maybe. That fits in with the quality of change in the 8. Hi, Lady Pallas Athena. What an interesting name. How are you? I'm talking about the process I was using in the making of this deck, and how the element of change. If you look at the Rider-Waite, there is that element of change with travel, going somewhere else, which is very much similar to the numerological idea that I'm using in the 8, which is change and the work to achieve the change. And this change can be interpreted as having all sorts of possibilities for development and success. And so there's this infinite quality of the 8, infinite possibility, and that rotating idea, of course, with cups in the realm of feeling, heart, those elements of life. So that's sort of how I go about making this deck. It's artistically, it's got that thinking process where I associate certain colors with certain things, and they tend to show up for, a certain color will be associated with the numbers, and then the color will be associated with the suit, like cups or swords or whatever. And so it works that way. And every once in a while I'd be drawing a card and I realize, oh wait, I messed up. I got the wrong color in there. I'm contradicting myself. That's not right. And I have to get rid of that color and then put the right color in. So it's you can forget your own logic when you're doing something and you're like, wait a minute, I just messed that all up. But then you go back and you fix it. So that's what I was doing when I was making it. And it's amazing what you can do while you're watching television. I mean, if you want to make a tarot deck, you can do it. And you can just sit and watch some stupid show on television that you're hardly paying attention to, and you can just do all your drawing right there. I do that a lot. I just let the television run, and I'm just like working, and I look up and I'm like, oh, right. There's a show on and like 4 episodes have passed by and I don't even know what happened. It's like I'm using television shows or Netflix as background music, really. But it's quite possible to do that. In fact, sometimes I know it's funny because most people are like, well, you can't watch television all day and be creative. Well, that's not true. Actually, you can be really focused and creative with the television right in front of you. I know because I do it, and that it's almost sometimes better than having silence, because it's just like that TV's going and you can just sort of, you're working on something and you get tired and you just need a minute to sort of like clear your mind, and you just look up and you just look at this show and you're like, oh wow, they're all arguing or they're shooting at each other, and there's a car chase and I don't know who's running from who, but whatever, it looks fun. And then you're back at what you're doing and you've sort of cleared your brain a little bit. That's for me. Everybody's totally different. Totally different when they do things. Marvel movies ignite your, yeah, it's so funny how it works. I'm telling you, I actually agree with you. I've done that with Marvel movies and stuff. It's true. And because, those Marvel movies, it's like there's so much like going on and you kind of don't have to pay a whole lot of attention to some of it, because you can kind of get what's happening sometimes just from the sound, really. I mean, how closely do we really have to pay attention to Avengers movies, they're kind of obvious. So, but I will sometimes just read comics, I will just, to relax, I will just read a comic book on my iPad, and it's just fun, Marvel, Iron Man, they always are like well-written comics. I will read Batman comics. They're very serious, but they're good. I also like Venom. I like Iron Fist. Venom is great, actually, because Venom is so psychological, because you've got this guy who's got this symbiote alien inside him, and they both are always arguing, and or they'll have slightly different ideas about what they should be doing. And so it's like, whoa, this guy's totally schizoid, but it's very interesting because it's so psychological. It's like the most psychological comic book, really. And they combine all of that sort of mental stuff with really well done, incredible action. Some of the best drawing of action I've seen in comics is in that Venom thing. So what I'll do is I'll get on to Comixology, which is Amazon now, and I will look for like a Venom, a volume that compiles like a whole bunch of them. So you get to, you buy the volume 1, 2, and 3, and each one is like 250 pages long. And so that's really fun because you get the whole story arcs and in one thing. And you'll be reading that for days. I'll open a queue. I've got my tarot story to do, but I'll do that a little later. I'm going to get this queue going. There we go. cue fired up. Coffee. Oh, Lady Palace. Okay, here we go. You are up. Give me your question, give me your topic, or however you want to, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to continue to shuffle the cards to get ready. Tap. Okay. Let's tap in to your energy. Let's think. Let's focus on that idea. And let me keep manipulating the cards. And then we will pull 3 of them. Okay. Let's take our 3 right here, right off the top, and let's lay them out as they arrived. Okay. Now what I am going to do is a practice I've been doing for a while now, which is the center one becomes slightly elevated and becomes the focal point. The 2 on the left and the right, the left becomes something a bit more submerged under the surface, an energy that's a more internal and that you might not always be very aware of, but is having its unseen effect. And on the right is a more conscious energy to focus on as you move forward in time over the next few days, something more to sort of think about and ponder, and bring further into your awareness. And so we start with the focal point, which is the elevated. That's a knight, the Knight of Cups. It's so funny, we were just talking about cups. Well, okay, so the knight goes forth. That's the basic quality. The knight goes forth, moves into action. And with cups, there's a kind of a feeling of you're taking your emotional life, you take whatever is kind of getting to you now, negatively, positively, whatever's grabbing you, whatever's got the primary position in your heart, in your feeling right now, your feelings, your emotional life. It can be love, it can be something one is upset about, but it is what's going on in your feelings. And the knight isn't afraid of feelings, regardless of what they are. The knight is not afraid to explore, to feel, to expose themselves to intense emotional situations. The knight has that capacity because, knights are action people. They are willing to take enormous risk in order to achieve enormous victory, enormous benefit. And so what the reading is saying is, okay, at the top, something to really, really keep ourselves centered on here is this quality of bravery of the heart, of your feelings, and the bravery to explore the feelings. So for a person that's afraid maybe someone's afraid to talk to someone and express what's inside, the knight is there to say, no problem. There's sure, knights are afraid, but that's the thing about knights and courage. It's always being afraid and doing it anyway, that's what defines courage. Knights are not unafraid. They have courage. They deal with fear. And fear is part of the cups. Fear is an emotion. It is a feeling. It is part of the cups. And so anything emotional in this time for you, the Knight is there to say, we can take charge of this. We can explore it. We can discuss it. We've got this. The Knight's got it. Okay? Now, here we have another cup, the King of Cup, reversed. Okay, so not reversed. The crown obviously looks like that. So the king is authoritative. The king is in control, right? That's what kings do. You don't become a king not to be in control. You become a king to run everything. And when we're talking about the heart, it simply indicates that you're not in charge. You're not feeling in control of your feelings. There may be things going on that have you feeling a little, at sea and kind of up and down and not able to really even figure out what your feelings are, because that's something kings are good at. They're good at identifying what is real and concrete, rational, and they're able to take charge and control it and make decisions about it. And everybody follows. All the emotions follow their instructions from the controller, someone who has command of their emotions and is able to say, take a deep breath here. I'm calm again. Now I can think wisely. Well, that's not necessarily what's going on with you right now under the surface that you might not be aware of. There's a bit of emotional sort of, you just don't know what's going on. You don't have that ability right now in this situation, whatever it might be, to define and be clear and take charge. And that's okay, because the Knight is here again in the center, giving you, leaning down from the horse, and moving the shield aside and saying, hey, listen. Yeah, this is a chaotic scene. There's people fighting over on the hills. There's people in the forest fighting, and we're all afraid, and all of our feelings are out of control. But you know what? We can handle this. That's what the Knight is saying. So no matter how sort of weird and out of control things are, and how much you maybe don't understand over here with the upside down king, the Knight is here to reassure. And then over here, we come to something that the cards are saying, let's be a little bit more aware and conscious of this, of something to think about coming up. And what it is the Two of Sticks. So the Two of Sticks, you'll notice how the idea of this card is almost like it has a quality of ignition, like something's charging and igniting. Two things are coming together. Two people, two different elements. There's something coming up that the cards are saying, let's be aware of this because this is a real possibility. And it's in the sticks zone, which is passion, creativity, the wanting of something or someone, the wanting to make, to build, to achieve. It's the drive to do that. That's what the sticks are. I want to build something great. I want to build a great sculpture. I want to build a great game or write a great book, or I want to build this relationship, or I want this person. I'm deeply in love with this person and I want to get closer to them. Sticks are about that, the fire of your energy to do that. And so the two is the idea of coupling, of two people or things coming together and forming a whole, a unit. in order to achieve something. And it could be a creative thing. It could even be something as simple as something at work. These emotions might be feelings at work. You feel like you don't know what's going on, but you want to be brave about it. And then moving forward, the cards are saying, look at the opportunity to share and work and gather plans, get plans together. And it's saying, don't leap into action yet, because that's more of a 3. The 2 is get yourself prepared and stabilized. Build, get with whatever it is that you see available to you. Get with that and start to use that and come together with it. And it will lead you toward your desire, which you may not even be able to identify yet because your feelings are a little confused under the surface here with this card. But this guy or girl, Knight, drives you forward in this brave way to explore, which will make this coupling here very, very fruitful, very, very productive. That, in a nutshell, is basically the energy. So the energy overall, if I were to kind of describe it, is kind of getting in touch with your feelings and being brave about them and seeing how they can lead you toward sharing and creative energy, or leading to the arrival or the achievement of your desires, right there with the 2. Central, though, to keep in mind, overall of everything, is the brave quality to explore these feelings that the Knight gives you. Oh, yeah. Successful energy, because what this is it's understood in this reading that all creativity, all of these things, they don't just come easily of themselves. They all incorporate emotional upheaval, emotional confusion, and this bravery is something that's inherent. Artists, they have to explore their feelings. They have to be brave about them. They have to explore internal things and be willing to express those things. And that's where this 2 of Wands is so important, because that's what it's about. It's about bringing things together, things or people, or even just inside yourself, bringing parts of yourself together, ideas you may have that you may have thought weren't related, or you may be afraid to put certain things together. You may be afraid to put yourself together with some creative project you've been thinking about maybe doing. The 2 is the encouragement to take the advice of the brave Knight and go ahead and explore and do it. That's how tarot works. Tarot kind of gets in and makes these little hints, and the tarot is always kind of saying, here's where maybe, here's where you want, here, I'm nudging you, like, here's a way to think about getting where you want to go. Sometimes it says, yeah, maybe don't go this way, but it never really leaves you hanging. The tarot doesn't really go, don't do that, and just leave it there. It doesn't do that. It goes, don't do that so much as maybe look over here. Look at that. Like, don't go through the left door. That door looks a little old and flimsy. Maybe that door over there actually looks kind of like there's some light coming from under it. That's what the tarot does. You're very welcome. Oh, thank you very much, Lady Pallas Athena. Lady Pallas Athena, getting very ancient Greeks and mythology, and wow, that's all built right into that name. I know my mythology. Well, sort of. I know some of it. Pallas Athena, if you read the Odyssey and stuff like that, they're always talking about Pallas Athena. Homer. I like having the cards right in front of me. This is so much easier. I don't know why I didn't think of this before. The card's right in front of me now. I don't have to bend and all that stuff. It's great. This is the way to do it. Now I understand. Now I know why tarot readers use a table and they just do it right in front of them. Of course. I'm slow. It takes me a while. Yeah. See, what I did is you can tell. I mean, I put the camera up. The tarot cam is right there. But I used to have it all the way over here to the right on the end of the table. And so I would have to go do all this reaching and my arms would get really tired, especially with shuffling. So this is much, much easier. So anyway, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I set things up sometimes and I'm like, it's just hard to get the right arrangement right off the bat. Because there's all sorts of little things like, how do you get the light to work? How do you get the light to at least get the cards visible? That whole thing. And then there's all these YouTube videos about how to light videos and stuff, which I kind of looked at a few of them and I got a few pointers, but so you have all these things in your mind and you try to do them and you don't get them all right initially. It's like you just can't. It takes time to work them out. There are some people on YouTube, man. I've seen their videos and they're talking about how they do stuff. There's really amazing lighting people do. It's crazy how they light the backgrounds and stuff. They get these glow tubes and that are really cool. Actually, I was thinking about trying that because they sell these glow tubes that are I don't know, I guess you can get them in different lengths, but they just have solid light, like a lightsaber, sort of like a short lightsaber, and they put them around in places, and so it makes really nice background colors and stuff. Yeah, I'm still getting used to the cards and how they shuffle, which is actually pretty good. I mean, considering it's a brand new deck, hot off the presses, and it's pretty flexible. I got to stop worrying about messing them up. It's so funny. With a new deck, I'm always like, oh, I don't want to ruin it. But cards actually get better when they're a little bit rough. They get easier to use. I should try I'll do the little tarot story. I have this little tarot story that I set up. I'm going to do I'm going to do it. Okay, so let me get the thing going here. Hold on a second. This is a little thing. So I go into a certain place. Hold on. Oh, here we go. It's right here. Uh-huh. All right. So the tarot story goes like so. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to switch over. Okay. In the bustling town of Eldoria, nestled amidst rolling hills and ancient forests, there lived a young man named Marcus. Blessed with ambition and brimming with pride, Marcus had always believed he was destined for greatness. Yet, despite his fervent efforts, success seemed to elude him, leaving him disillusioned and disheartened. One crisp autumn evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Marcus found himself drawn to the outskirts of town, where a colorful tent adorned with mystical symbols caught his eye. Intrigued, he stepped inside, greeted by the warm glow of candles and the faint scent of incense. Seated at a small table inside the tent was a mysterious woman, her eyes sparkling with ancient wisdom. She beckoned Marcus to join her, and with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism, he obliged. The woman introduced herself as Madame Isidora, a renowned fortune-teller with a gift for divination. Marcus hesitated, unsure of what to expect, but curiosity compelled him to stay. Madame Isidora shuffled a deck of tarot cards with practiced precision before drawing a single card and placing it on the table. It was the Hanged Man, a figure suspended yet serene in his surrender. As Marcus studied the card, Madame Isidora spoke softly, her voice carrying the weight of generations past. She explained that the Hanged Man represented a period of transition and sacrifice, where letting go of ego and pride was paramount to finding true enlightenment. At first, Marcus scoffed at the notion, dismissing it as mere superstition. But as Madame Isidora delved deeper into the card's meaning, Marcus felt a stirring within him, a flicker of recognition that resonated with his own struggles. With each word spoken by the fortune teller, Marcus's pride began to unravel, giving way to a newfound sense of humility and introspection. He realized that his relentless pursuit of success had blinded him to the beauty of the journey itself, to the lessons waiting to be learned in moments of failure and defeat. In that dimly lit tent, surrounded by the wisdom of ages past, Marcus experienced a profound shift in perspective. He saw that letting go of his ego wasn't a sign of weakness, but a path to greater understanding and growth. As he emerged from the fortune teller's tent, Marcus felt lighter, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. With newfound clarity and purpose, he set out to embrace the lessons of the hangman, to surrender to the flow of life and trust in the wisdom of the universe. And as he ventured forth into the unknown, Marcus knew that although the road ahead would be challenging, it was also filled with infinite possibilities. A journey of self-discovery and transformation guided by the timeless wisdom of the tarot. And so there is a little tarot story about the Hanged Man card. So, just one of those things I like to do, put a little thing together. Coming up with crazy pictures to go along with it, So, but it's a little thing that is kind of a way of talking about a card in the format of a little story, because that's really what tarot is. Tarot is story. You're telling a story based on these crazy cards that you pull. And so it's like you pull story elements out, and the stories they're meant to sort of get into your psychology and give you new things to ponder, new to give you new energy, make you look at things in a completely different way than you did the day before. That's really what tarot is doing. And I say it a lot. It's like, it's not really predicting what will happen. It's giving a person new ways of making things happen, new ways of interpreting things. That's really the power of tarot. And if you think about it, it's very much like any art. Anything that you go, I always say you go into a museum, if you look at 3 paintings on the wall next to each other, they have an effect. Their meanings combine in that moment for you, and they have an effect on your entire feeling in that moment. And sometimes you can be in a gallery or a museum and you see a couple things, and all of a sudden you're all excited and you're bursting with like ideas, and you want to go and like think about them more. That's how things can affect you in the moment, and that's very much in tune with what tarot is doing. Let me go back and check. Yeah, you were saying sounds like you and disheartened. You know, it's amazing how much of life involves being disheartened about something and having to find your way from that or through that. So much of life is that. And tarot is so good at helping with that. I had just for myself, and I talked about this last night briefly, but I had to just recently, start taking care of a bunch of really difficult stuff, involving old people. And right when it was starting, I just was like, okay, I had to travel somewhere. I had to get things going, get this sort of assistance going. And I was like, my gosh, I don't know. Oh man, it's just overwhelming. And so I did a little reading just for myself with breakfast one day. And the 3 cards that came out were the perfect little message at that moment to make me go, oh, right. I have to kind of access this part of me that the cards are talking about and be that person. And that's what'll get me through what seems like this huge, confusing difficulty. And so it was the perfect little layout of 3 cards on that day. And so that's really, they can really help. And you don't need a reader to do it. You can have your own deck and you can just do it yourself at breakfast like I did. And it just has some effect that, you may have really needed to see in that moment. And really what it's doing is it's just making you aware of what's already there in you. And in fact, if you really want to take this further, that's what meditation is. That's what Buddhism is all about. It's making you come to an awareness of what's been there all along, that you just kind of may have forgotten and ignored so long that you got in the habit of thinking it wasn't there. And meditation brings you to this a new awareness of something that you've actually had and been the whole time. I'm not saying that I've done that, but this is what I gather from what people say. I do meditation, but I don't think I can claim that I've had magnificent, profound, the top of the line experience. I can't say that, but that's the whole point of meditation, is just doing it, even if you're doing it incompetently. And that also works with tarot. Even if you're doing tarot incompetently, even if you have no idea what you're doing, pulling the cards still gives you a feeling. Even if you're confused about all the things in a particular card, you still get a message from the tarot. It's just the way it is. So when you're disheartened, you can very simply just pull a tarot card. And you can, even if you don't have a deck, you can just do it online somewhere. Just, look at all the tarot site. A lot of them have single card pull, and card comes up and you might read a little paragraph about what it usually means and just think about that card all day long, like what it's trying to give you to help you deal with feeling disheartened about one thing or another. And then the tarot really starts to shine when you do that. You start to see the power and the use of it. And that's why it's so funny when people talk about like tarot, they try to catch you. Like, well, what if you do a tarot reading and you ask it a question, and then you ask the question again and do another tarot reading 2 minutes later, and it's totally different. Well, that's not. Tarot isn't trying to say, "Hey, here it is. This is the exact truth right here, and this is what's going to happen." And then, "Oh, sorry, no, that's wrong. Actually, this is going to happen on reading 2. Hi, GlitchCon. How you doing?" That's not what tarot's doing. Tarot is offering insight, and it's offering inspiration and ideas. It's saying, if you do 2 readings on the same question, it's going to offer you different ideas on the same question. However, that's not a really good use of tarot, because what the idea with tarot is that you're taking one crystal gem out of all of infinity, and at this moment in time, when you are having this concern or question, and in this one moment in time, this particular shuffle of the deck, this particular random pulling of cards from a shuffled deck is only going to happen once in this particular way. And you want to have that crystallized thing to focus on. If you then try to tamper with that and go, no, let's do it again, you're muddying the water. And you're defeating the strength of the tarot. So that's the answer. When people try to take tarot in some literal way, like, well, if it says that I am going to find $1 on the sidewalk tomorrow in reading number 1, and then 5 minutes later, reading number 2 says I won't find $1 on the sidewalk, then if you're doing that with tarot, then you get what you deserve. You get no answer, because you're trying to ask the tarot to do something it's just not there to do. Tarot is not there to tell you whether or not you will find $1 on the sidewalk tomorrow. It's there to talk about, why are you looking for $1 on the sidewalk? Why do you care if you find $1 on the sidewalk? That's what it's doing, really. So these are, tarot is very philosophical, actually. It has a lot of depth. And so when people say, but why is the tarot contradicting reality? You said in your reading that my dog was, a beautiful brown dog, and it loves chicken dog food, but I have never owned a dog. and so exactly, the person saying I've never owned a dog is quite correct. The tarot reader should not be trying to say, you have a beautiful dog, don't you? And the dog loves chicken dog food. No, the tarot reader should not be busying themselves with that. That's not what tarot does. The tarot might talk about, a kind of a feeling that you would have, a love for a dog, and that quality of your heart, of your feeling, is something to explore, and that the kind of feeling one has for a loved animal is similar to the kind of feeling that you might think about exploring here in this particular time. That's where tarot sits. But it's not people's fault when they don't understand that. It's not it's not. It's just they just haven't understood that yet. Some readers don't understand that, and it's really it's it. Some readers they just haven't. Maybe they haven't been reading enough to know that or figure that out. Or sometimes, yes, the readers are purely just trying to pretend they're doing something that they can't really do, and maybe they're, that does happen. There are people that do things without caring for doing them well, I guess. But I think normally people trying to read tarot, if they come at it with a very literal point of view, it's not really their fault. It's just that they're probably a little newer to it, and they've read some stuff, and they might have thought, well, it's tarot predicts things, and it's very easy to understand why they would think that. It's really not that big a deal. You just, they come to it. I think most readers come to understanding the tarot pretty well if they stick with it. In fact, I think sometimes it's fun to imagine that tarot can predict things, but I would take it as fun. I would take it purely as, oh, this is like an old movie with a fortune teller, like My Little Story, but and see, that's the thing. In the story I just read, the fortune teller is using the Hanged Man card in a very sort of philosophical way. She's talking about how it suggests that you don't get so wrapped up in the idea of your ego and failure versus success. That what's more important is that journey of your development and how you handle your failure and also how you handle success. Some people can't handle success. They become total imbeciles when they are very successful. They become obnoxious. Some people can't handle failure. They think that they're worthless, or that there's nothing that they know how to do. Look at me talking about it all. I have had that feeling where it's like, I don't know how to do anything. Damn it. What is it I know how to do? I can't figure it out. Will I ever figure it out? Everybody has this to some degree. And there comes the tarot to help. Anyone who wants a reading, of course, just type the join command, and you'll get into the queue. My coffee's getting cold. It's still good, though. Oh, I'm so liking this new setup. I'm so liking it. Wow. It's so easy to do the cards. I was looking at a woman doing tarot readings the other day on Twitch, and she was good. I liked her. She was great, really young, and she was she was like, she did something and she bumped like whatever was holding her tarot camera, and the whole image was like, and she was like, oh my God, and she was reaching up with her arms, like trying to hold the camera. It was like falling, and it was just, and she was like, hold on a second, and she was like, oh my God, and she got it together though. She got it back working, and she didn't let it throw her. It was just kind of funny. But I'll do that every once in a while. I'll sort of bop around in the Twitch thing and look at what tarot readers are doing, because I get bored like with my screen, the way I have it set up with the colors and stuff, and so I'll like look around and I'll be like, oh, that guy has a really great idea. That's really cool looking, you know. So I think at some point I'll revamp the stream the way it looks. I'm almost thinking I'll do something on my own. Like I'll make a template of my own. Not animated though. Like this one has this animated glowing thingy, like orb or what. It looks almost like space, I think. And but you don't need animations on these things. That's not the important thing. But I really like the tarot setups that a lot of people have on this Twitch thing. I think they're really cool. And the different ways people read, like some people are really, some people are like very definite. They'll just say, they'll put 3 cards, like they'll do this. Like here's this is different than me, but here's sort of how I sometimes see some people reading. Like they'll go like this, and they'll just look at the cards and they'll go, yeah, well, it looks like, I would say, you know what? Yeah, I don't think the new job is going to work out. Yeah, too much stress, and it's just not going to work out. It's not looking good, especially with, with this death card right in the middle. But yeah, I don't think the job is going to work out. And then they're like, done. And it's just a different way. And it's like they're just looking at the cards and they're saying very, very simply what their very initial reaction was to the 3 cards. They're not even like really delving into the individual meanings of each card. They're just saying, oh, the impression I get from these 3 cards next to each other is that this is a highly stressful situation and it's not going to work out or something. And that's okay. I just typically don't like to use the tarot to leave things in a hey, this isn't going to fly way. I kind of like to say, oh, it looks like there's difficulty. It looks like there's difficulty getting this to work, but here's an angle that the tarot is saying might be something to explore to see if maybe there is possibility. Or if there's no possibility, it might be suggesting a way to learn from this particular failure. That's sort of how I do tarot. I never just leave it like, nope, not going to fly. Sorry, bye-bye. But then again, somebody might want a very clear, definite answer. And then they can, most people I think that come into these streams, they kind of get an impression of what the style of that reader is. And so they'll sort of be like, well, okay, so this style actually fits me. And I'll ask my question. And other people will look and go, no, this is not the style I want. I just need a really hard and fast answer. Boom, yes or no. And so then they'll go, okay, well, this other reader is doing that, and they'll go and ask that. And that's what, that's individuality. I'm going to wear these cards out with shuffling. They're holding up pretty darn well. I've just only been using them now. This is what, the third day I've used them, I guess. I mean, I've done little readings for myself with them, but this is the first 3 days I've been like really shuffling and using them for any period of time. What's on top? Ooh. Ace of Coins. Well, you know, the aces actually aren't that easy to read because, you know, they are the, hey, there's a huge possibility here card. There's a big, they're basically the card of, hey, man, focus on this because there's a big thing. There's something that's going to happen here. This is big possibility time. Gathering of like storm clouds here, but in a positive way. Gathering of forces is what aces are doing. This is and they're basically saying, look at this part of you, this enormous energy in this area. And with coins, it's the area of physicality and work and making of money and you know getting what you need. Stability, trying to make yourself safe. That's home, that kind of stuff. That's what the coins are talking about. Because finances are all about home and safety. You know, you have money so that you can get what you need to survive and be comfortable. So there you're in coins, and the ace is like, okay, announcement, everybody. We're talking about this subject now, and this is where we want the questioner to be focused because this is really going to explode into something. That's what, when the ace shows up, that's what you've got. Yeah. I feel like I'm playing the piano. Ding, diddle, ding, diddle, ding. Like it's like I'm sitting at a tarot piano. I'm actually going to a concert, like a symphony. It's like, which is a piano concerto coming up. I'm going to this. And it's going to be kind of fun. I've been to the symphony a few times, and it's actually a really good thing to do. It's just, you know, it seems like it would be really boring, but it's not, because the sound coming from the orchestra, the sound in the place is different. It's just different than it is when you listen to it through speakers or something. It's just a whole different quality. And it's really nice to experience it once in a while. Like classical music. Some people are like, what? How boring. But you really get to see like how the musicians are doing everything. You know, you can see every single person really well in an orchestra, and like how they're playing their instrument, and you know, there's a conductor, and you can see them doing all their stuff. It's pretty cool. So yeah, the ace was. Those are always wild to get in a reading. They still sort of throw me a little bit. How did all those swords come out together? What the heck? That's why I'm shuffling so much. But it's totally legit. I mean, this deck has been shuffled a lot. Coins, cups, all reversed. Here's another thing one could do to be silly and get a really good shuffle. This is mainly for getting the cards all oriented differently. Nice pile of green. Pile of green cards, ready to go. All reversed again. This is a tarot stream where we just shuffle the cards. That's all that happens here. Hours and hours of card shuffling. Wouldn't that be ridiculous? Not bad. Pretty decent shuffle. I've got little things. What is the thing I'm thinking about? Hang on. Oh, here's a cool book. This is actually a pretty good book. This book is written by a woman who, I believe, worked with Carl Jung at some point. And so she tries to write about tarot using the ideas and theories of Jung. So what is it she starts off with? Hang on. I'm going to go to the introduction, her introduction. So she says, Introduction to the Tarot. The tarot is a mysterious deck of cards of unknown origin, at least 6 centuries old. This deck is the direct ancestor of our modern playing cards. Down through the generations, the figures depicted on these cards have enjoyed many incarnations. It is a testimony to the vitality and wisdom of the ancient tarot that although it had spawned such an active child as the playing cards we use today, the parent deck itself did not retire. And then if you go over here, okay, so that's one is the intro. And then she does like a map. Okay, she lays out the entire deck. Oh, look, here's something she says that's very similar to what I say about. She says, the best way to get at the individual meaning of these cards for oneself is to approach them directly, as one would the paintings in an art gallery. See that? Yeah. Like paintings, these trumps are so-called projection holders, meaning simply that they are hooks to catch the imagination. Speaking psychologically, projection is an unconscious, autonomous process whereby we first see in the persons, objects, and happenings in our environment those tendencies, characteristics, potentials, and shortcomings that really belong to us. Excellent, excellent description of the tarot. We people the exterior world with the witches and princesses, devils and heroes of the drama buried in our own depths. I mean, how could you put it any better than that? Really good. But yeah, so this book, I had this book already. I had this book, another copy of it, in my bookshelf. And then I was on a trip this last summer. I was up in the mountains somewhere. And I went into this little bookstore and I saw this book and I was like, oh, this looks nice. And I was like, okay, yeah. And I went up and I paid for it. And as I walked out with it in the bag, I was like, wait a minute. There's something familiar about this book. And I looked at the name of the author again, And I was like, I know that name. And so then when I got it home, I was like, I went and looked in my bookcase, and sure enough, the same book was there, but with a different cover. They had reprinted it. This is like the newer printing, and it looks different. And so I have it twice, but I was like, that's okay. No harm buying it twice. In fact, I like this printing of it better. This is a nicer book than the other one I have. So it's the first tarot book that I bought a duplicate of. But it's one of the very best tarot books. One of the best available is this thing. But as absurd as it may sound, I buy a lot of tarot books. I'm like a helpless sucker for these darn things. If I see a tarot book I haven't seen before in some obscure store, I'll be like, oh, there's a new one. I haven't seen that before. I better buy that. I mean, it's like a reflex. I don't know. And some people think tarot books are just awful. I just don't think they're all. I think they're all very similar in the way they're laid out. But I'm always sort of like, it's like a tradition. It's a traditional arrangement of ideas in most tarot books. How they first do, they have a chapter about the history, and then they do the major arcana cards and one by one, and then they do the number cards one by one, and the court cards, and then they do a little description maybe of elements and numerology, and then they do like 3 or 4 little sample readings, and they sort of all have that. I mean, what else are you going to do with a tarot book? But everyone is a little different in some weird way. So I don't know. I just like to see how people kind of improvise on the tarot theme from book to book. I actually made a little booklet that goes along with this deck. I like the idea of a little tarot booklet. So I made a little booklet that goes in the box, and it's the card meetings. And so I just have them like a very little, just a little thing, like for the major arcana. Right here on this page, I say major cards represent deeper, longer-term forces and influences. They have the greatest weight in a reading. When a card is right side up in a reading, use the first meanings. When a card is upside down, use the reversed meanings. Fool, seeker, adventurer, new beginning, optimism, freedom, thirst for knowledge. Reversed, carelessness, loneliness, retreat, abandonment, impulsiveness, outsider. Magician, work, knowledge, skill, effort, industriousness, ability, talent. Reversed, trickiness, manipulation, controlling behavior, untrustworthiness, laziness, lack of skill. So I like little tarot books, those little books that comes with decks and have just very, very one-word little meanings, they're just great. I just was like, I have to put one in with my deck. Absolutely. And I have one sample reading. At the end of the little booklet, it's like, here's a sample how you do a 3-card reading. And yeah. It has to be, when you do a little booklet for a deck, it has to be understandable by a totally new person who's never tried tarot before. It has to be very simple, direct, instructions and the simplest possible example. Like, you don't want to put a Celtic Cross 10-card reading in as a sample in a little tarot book in a deck. I just think that doesn't make any sense. You put a very simple 3-card max, and then then if somebody's interested beyond that, going to learn, then they go and buy books. Sticks. Swords, another one. Another king. Swords, 4 of, so yeah, 4. So the 4 gets very sort of a squarish kind of arrangement in this deck. I think I just landed on that guy a minute ago. Justice. Justice. I had to put the scales in. Scales of justice, and of course the sword for, justice has to have, always, justice has the thread of force behind it. It has to. Cup. Oh, we were just looking at this earlier tonight. It's so funny how things repeat. Coins. 9 of coins. 9 is the number of penultimateness. Almost there. Striving. Persevering. It's hard. It can seem hopeless. It can seem like failure is imminent. Six of sticks, we just had that earlier tonight. Harmonious communication and sharing of creative energy. Okay, 8 of swords. So the 8 has come up again. Incredible effort of intellect and ideas leading to profound insight and new possibility. Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is a form of release, of letting go. You could say letting go of the rope. Where did the poor guy go? Down. But it can also mean climbing and achieving. But the idea is to take the risk of letting oneself go, of letting things happen and develop in their own time, taking the protections off. In other words, the shoes are left behind, and going out and hanging almost in the void to come to new awareness. And that's what the Hanged Man is all about. We see the place where the Hanged Man has many possibilities about what's gone on here. High Priestess. It's nice to get this card because the High Priestess is, first of all, the idea going on here is rather lunar. The moon is there. It's hazy. It's night. It's talking about the ability to access hazy, indefinite, unconscious things, energies, forces, dream states, and bring something from them and remember something from them. Remember and record, put down, express in language. That high priestess is able to access hidden realms and bring them out and use and communicate them. And it's like remembering the dream. You know, when you wake up, that's what the high priestess is getting at. Court card right now. Court Hangman comes out again. Look at that. Look how things get so coincidental. Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is a wheel. And here it's on a mountain road. Could be going up, could be going down. It's got a broken axle. It has to be fixed in order to move forward or backwards. But one can also simply use it to look at it as a wheel and think about different points in time or changes and things like that. But typically the fortune's wheel has to be worked on and worked at and manipulated by us in order to turn. Four of Cups. That's security of the four, stability, the emotional life, and feeling safe and trusting in the four. The sun. Well, very simply, every child knows that the sun makes your flowers grow. It's happy. Two of Cups, the coupling again, the coming together. The energy, the potential being built. Coins, 10. A lot has happened. A lot has been accomplished. It's time to go forward now and use what we have. Nine of Cups. Well, you know, that there's been a lot of feeling, a lot of investigation of feelings, and a lot of work being done. Maybe a relationship and a lot of work going on, and sometimes it feels like we just can't do anymore. We can't really finish what we're trying to do. We can't understand what's in our heart. And the 9 is all about that needing to push forward and stick with it. Six of Coins, again, harmony, using one's wherewithal, using one's success and sharing, community. Lovers. The lovers are very Shakespearean, very Romeo and Juliet, very much about the communication that goes on and the mental activity, the imaginative quality in the concept of lovers, the love letters, the poem, the poetry. That's why the quill is there. That's why it's full moon evening and the crazy ideas people get and the vine and the balcony. Very Romeo and Juliet. Did someone leave to escape with their lover? Did someone come to visit their lover? Are they supposed to be together? Are they not? What is it? It's all that kind of mysterious, imaginative, exciting energy that lovers have. Poetry. Nine of Swords, another. Lots of effort. Lots of work being done, trying to make something, trying to get figure something out or resolve like an intense conflict. Judgment. Are you going to be able to live with it? In your last moments, would you look back on your deathbed, perhaps? Would you be okay with it, with what you did? Judgment. That judgment, the things that float through your mind when you're lying in bed, almost falling asleep. How does what you're doing now stand up to the judgment in this moment here? Queen of coins. So the queen, and I put green in and yellows and oranges, and it's that idea that there's kind of an earthy achievement, the building of earthy wherewithal, of groundedness, of being able to make wise decisions and control the putting together of one's life and resources and job and finances. That's all in this card. 9 of Sticks, again, intense creative effort, almost at the point of failure and giving up, but fighting through. Ace, enormous energy building up creatively, ready to go. Wheel of Fortune again, we did that. Been waiting to see this card. The Emperor, very much about physical accomplishment, achievement, control of the world. Very, the realm of material success and achievement and skill and all the things that go with running the world, running things in a practical way, and dealing with battle and conflict and, power, the projection of power in this card. This is the Emperor's tent, presumably sort of near a battlefield, quite likely in this picture. Let me see something. I went more jazzy tonight with the music. I like this kind of chill jazz. I actually listen to jazz pretty often. I'm not a big expert or know a lot about it, but I actually enjoy all kinds of jazz. Yeah, the Emperor card is sort of a dramatic scene. It's like there's smoke coming up from behind the tent and obscuring the sun a bit. And then somebody, the Emperor maybe has left his spear out like on the walkway. This card kind of grew on me. At first, I didn't like it much when I was making it, and then I changed it a little bit. I added something to it, and at some point, I was like, "Oh, okay, I actually like it now." But yeah, the Emperor has you've got the Emperor in the tarot and you've got the Empress, and they both sort of, the Empress is more toward the fertility, the garden idea, the growing and the lushness of life and nurturing of life and leading toward joy and it just, happiness at home and in the world and that kind of thing. Whereas the Emperor is much more about dominating the more physical, rational realm. And that's why the Emperor, has a tent, a very definite sort of scenario with a wall or a barricade, that you have to pass through it. The wall sort of representing very physical world, stones. Whereas with the Empress, where is the Empress? The Empress is a whole different idea, where is she? Here. The Empress is much more, she's the Empress. She has her seat in nature. Her seat in nature, surrounded by nature, the natural world, and the sort of moist quality of the fertility of the earth, and life's bursting out all around her. That idea. As opposed to the Emperor. This is actually one of my favorite cards, if not my absolute favorite of this deck. I like the fact there's just this armchair sitting in the middle of nature. I don't know, it's just kind of funny to me. The Empress's chair. This is where she holds court with all of nature. This is where, the animals come to visit. And, this is what it is when you commune with the natural world. That's what this is about. And the rain's coming down and the armchair's getting soaked because that's light. It's what makes the garden flourish. And there are only two animals in this entire deck. There's this bird in the background flying over the mountain, and then there's a little dog in the Fool card. So yeah, Empress card's very, very important to the tarot deck. Very, very crucial card. Some people feel that it's the central card of the deck. It might be. Moon. The Moon card. That's, the mysteries of the unconscious and how, they are as ethereal and hard to grasp as the reflection of the moon on water. Temperance. The Temperance card. A fountain in a garden. A fountain, just sort of the droplets sort of suspended, in a moment of serenity. Temperance, what could be more sort of leaning toward calmness, relaxation, and temperance than a sparkling fountain in a garden. Ah, the Hermit. Yes. This was a fun one to make. We're sort of breaking through the wall of the Hermit's little house. And we see the Hermit's little space, the table where they work. There's even a little note paper and a little pencil and next to the lantern. So maybe the hermit is, studying things and learning in isolation and solitude. But we're getting to peek in through a hole. In order to access where the hermit goes, we might need to, bust through this because the hermit stays hidden. Magician. The magician is immensely creative and talented and uses tools, uses knowledge and skill and ability to make something, and it almost seems to burst into existence from nowhere. That's the magician. The devil. The devil is about being tied down and restricted, enslaved to something or other, even enslaved to one's own ideas. And that, the bonds that hold a person down and prevent this or that. The Chariot. The Chariot is about conquering, achievement, the spectacle, the ego, victory. But it's not easy. It's a battle. It's rough. And what is commonly known as the Death card, the 13th card, the Nameless card. Well, every field has its time when it's harvested or when it's ready to be replanted, and that's what it is. Let's get rid of this darn dead stalk of corn here. Let's cut that sucker down and get ready for the next season. High priest. The high priest is kind of a teacher, a traditionalist, looks at the world and, turns it into symbol, turns it into ritual. The high priest builds an edifice. The high priest worships and tends to put something there for people to focus on. The fool. See, there's the little dog. That little dog that's going to accompany the fool. It's a little blurry there, but there's a little dog there. Right there. Anyway, and the fool, travels morning or evening and has something to carry along and a distance away to go. And the star card. What do we do with stars? We navigate with them, don't we? Guidance, and we take care of the people that we are traveling with. We guide, we lead them through to the star. We bring them toward a goal. We rely on this vessel, even in rough weather and tall waves back here in the background. We go through, and the star gives us that guide point. I'll do one more. You could do... I did. Oh! Tower. The tower is multiple things. It's a vantage point where one can see vast distances, but there's a risk involved in being exposed at the top of a tower. You never know what can happen there. It also lifts you above the violent, stormy sea, but can the tower withstand these forces? Is the tower going to lead to collapse, sudden, drastic change? There's both strength and weakness in being in the tower. You're high, you have an advantage of height and your viewpoint, but you're also easily spotted and seen, and you're exposed in the tower. And those are messages coming through the tower card. And you can see the tower's cracking down here, but it's not falling. And you can see maybe some kind of a meteor is coming down and falling, and the tower is also on fire somewhere in there. It's very dramatic. There's a lot of fire going on, and it's smoking, but it stands. It still stands. So yes, the tower is about upheaval, true, and potential defeat, but it's not definite about it because the tower is standing, and it can also indicate an advantage if not used as arrogance, because As arrogant as you are, there's always a meteor coming out of nowhere. These are the lessons. And there's also the storm, the sea trying to eat away at the foundation of the tower down here. So it's a balancing card for the ego. Very much so. Let's see. Okay, well, I've been streaming now for 2 hours, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll raid someone with you guys that are here. We will, and I'll come back. I believe tomorrow is a stream night. Tomorrow is another tarot stream night. Haha. So right now, let's try and do a quick raid of some poor, unsuspecting tarot person out there. Let me see if I can get this going. Let's see. Okay. So we'll go here. And then I have to go. I always forget how to raid people. It's I never remember what I'm doing with raiding. Oh, here, it's in here. Here somewhere. Try and get, let's see. Stream manager. It's got to be, there we go. Raid channel. Okay. So here we go. We've got Blue Light Oracle going, Morgana. Okay. There's some in other languages. A few of these I know. I'll go to Tarot Lady in a Church. Very reliable. Tarot Lady in a Church. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm gonna head out, and I'll be back tomorrow evening at about the same time. And right now, you're going off to see Tarot Lady in a Church, who's really good. And okay, good night, and have a great day tomorrow. Excellent Friday, if it's Friday for you. And I'll be right back here. Okay. Talk later.